Hey guys, welcome to Battle VIP Turbo. Today we're gonna Lost Artifact featuring new Earthen Seal Stone once more, using our Mimikyu with the Dummy Doll ability, preventing all damage under this Pokemon on your opponent's next turn. If you put the Pokemon from your hand onto your bench during your turn, you actually get to activate this ability to prevent your opponent from doing a V knockout, which is really big because we have our Volo and also Thorton, one copy of each, to basically deny our opponent from drawing two prizes for a V knockout. So Mimikyu is only staying in play for one turn for us to do Star Gravity with Mirage Gate. We're using this card to basically charge up for the 300 attack cost to do our V Star power for that one turn, doing a surprise Star Gravity, and then immediately after, on the next turn, we get to retreat and play a Volo or Thorton. If we play a Thorton, we don't need to retreat. Obviously, we get to play Quick Ball to discard, or even Aurora Energy to discard a Pokemon from our hand, a Sableye or even Greninja, to basically do a Thorton, swap it out into play so that we get to play Moonlight Shuriken, either do Moonlight Shuriken or Lost Mine. Make sure you are aware of this attack though. Make sure you can actually pull off Lost Mine to place 12 damage counter. If you don't have 10 cards in your Lost Zone, you can't actually place 12 damage counter with your Sableye. So if it's actually safer to do Thorton onto your Greninja first, because it's quite difficult to play Lost Mine that early in the game. So after doing a surprise Star Gravity, if you can pull off Moonlight Shuriken, that would be awesome, because on the next turn you got 12 damage counter, which is exactly enough to knock out 3 V Pokemons for all 6 prizes in a single turn, because you have 90 damage in the game on 2 of their V Pokemons, and that means you just need exactly 12 damage counters, which is perfect. And we also have our Crabominable to basically knock them out with Destroy Punch if they heal their Pokemon with Crystal Cave, Lucky Ice Pops. Even if they heal up to 4 damage counter remaining on their Pokemon, we still get to do a one-hit knockout with our Destroyer Punch using Mirage Gate. We're playing 3 copies of this card, which is really helpful for this deck, just because if you don't want to be using your Mimikyu, if they are up against a one-price deck, can actually help you charge up your Eiscue, which we are playing for this deck as well, to do Block Phase, preventing all damage on this Pokemon by basic Pokemons on your opponent's next turn. Every single turn you get to play this attack, and that means you get to defend yourself against Lunatone Solrock, against Regigigas decks every single turn. And that means they are not going to win at all, unless if they have enough bosses and escape ropes, which I don't think they have. So we have also one Cramorant to help us do enough damage to do a fast VMAX knockout. If they don't evolve all their VMAX or V-Stars yet, we can actually pull off a first knockout with our Destroyer Punch, and then later on in the game, pull off our, Dummy Doll, and also Star Gravity combo. We have our 4 copies of Comfey with 4 Cobras to help us draw out the right cards to do our surprise Star Gravity at the right time. All we need is 5 pieces, which is quite a lot, but we have a lot of search though. We have a lot of ways to draw those cards out with our Flower Select and also Cobras. So make sure you're aware that you need to lose 7 cards to be able to play your Mirage Gate, and you need to lose 10 cards to be able to play Lost Mine. Make sure you're aware of that every single game, every single turn, because if you miss one turn not realizing that you have not enough cards in the Lost Zone, then you're going to waste an entire turn not doing anything. So you have to be aware every single turn how many cards you have in the Lost Zone. We also have one Bruno, one Irida to help us get the right cards into our hand, one Serena to do a boss effect or even draw cards as well, one Avery against one price decks, a good counter, and we also have one Thorton, one Volo, and one Wallace to help us draw cards into our hand instead of shuffling or putting cards at the bottom. We actually need to keep drawing cards since we need that many pieces. We need our Mimikyu, our tool card, a switch card to help us do a surprise Star Gravity, and also one energy in our hand, plus also a Mirage Gate, which is an item, and that means Irida is going to help us either get our tool card or our Mirage Gate, which is very helpful because it helps us draw cards with Greninja as well. If you can bench your Greninja to do conceal cards, it also has the ability to help you draw cards as well. So if you want to be benching your Greninja, you can't actually play Thorton for it, which is kind of risky, because we want to be doing Thorton on Mimikyu to be able to do Moonlight Shuriken, which is ideal, but sometimes you don't have a choice just because you want to be drawing as much cards as you can so they get to pull off Star Gravity first, which is kind of the main priority. So if you don't have the right cards in your hand, you should actually be thinking about benching this card instead of discarding it. So we also have our Sableye to fall back on just in case we can't do our Moonlight Shuriken. If we don't get our second Mirage Gate at the right time, we can actually pull off Lost Mine first, and then do Moonlight Shuriken later, which is still a good thing, which is, it's still possible to win using that strategy. And we also have one Manaphy to basically guard our bench against, bench type decks and spread decks. We have one Rod and one Recycler to recycle our Pokemon's energies, and our basic summons, 3 Quick Ball, 3 Level Ball, and 4 VIP Pass with 1 Heavy Ball. We have no capture, but we do have 4 copies of basic Psychic and 4 basic Water with 2 Aurora to help us discard our Pokemon from our hand so that we get to play our Thorton at the right time. We have 3 Quick Ball for the discard as well, 4 Escape Rope, 3 Scoop Up Nets for the switch, and also 1 Air Balloon, which I recommend to swap for another Scoop Up Net, to be honest. But sometimes Air Balloon can actually help you a lot against control decks. Sometimes it actually does way more than that Scoop Up Net. So I think that's all for the deck list. Now let's go for some gameplay! Okay, let's go for our first game. We're up against a V-Star deck. So they got Arceus V-Star with Pikachu and Crobat VMAX. A crazy meta destruction deck. So we have our Mimikyu Surprise Star Gravity combo. We're using Moonlight Shuriken for this deck, and also our Lost Mine to collect the knockout. We have our tech cards as well. Eiscue with 1 Crabominable to help us basically do a 1-hit knockout or counter against full basic decks. They have Pikachu VMAX, we have Eiscue, they have Crobat VMAX for the weakness against Mew VMAX. We're actually able to snipe the bench against Mew VMAX, so Greninja's to hit for at least 70 damage on both Pokemons. On any 2 of your opponent's Pokemon, even with Oricorio in play, you get to do 70, and then on the next turn you get to play Sableye to collect 2 VMAX knockout, or even 1 VMAX and 1 V knockout, and all you need is possibly a Serena to do, to play Crabominable or something else for the final strike, for the final 1 prize. We have no boss though, and that means we can't target 𝑚𝒆𝒐𝒏, we can't target Oricorio. We have Escape Rope, but we have no boss. So we got 4 Escape Ropes in his deck and only 3 Scoop Up Net. I actually recommend to replace the Air Balloon with another extra copy of Scoop Up Net, just because it helps you play the ability more times. If you retreat, you can actually play the energy for the retreat Air Balloon, and if you do that, Air Balloon is not going to do anything anymore, right? Because you can't retreat twice in a single turn. So I feel like it's better to play more nets. Air Balloon is going to last for turns though. Like, it's going to help you in the long run. It's not going to help you early game, because if you want to if you want to speed start, if you want to basically rocket launch your start, if you want to give yourself like a huge head start in the game, then Scoop Up Net is probably the best card to play. 4 copies of it would actually help a lot. If you're a player that's a little bit more on the safe side, if you want to play Air Balloon, it's going to help you, it's going to last for many turns, and it's going to help you retreat every single turn with the same Comfey, which is super cool until it gets knocked out, obviously. So they got Radiant Gardevoir to reduce damage. We are placing damage counters with our Star Gravity and also Sableye. So Gardevoir is not really doing much for this game. Crabominable is doing way too much damage anyways after the Star Gravity. So our main concern is to loss cards right now. We need to loss up to 7 cards. And we need to play Irida at the right time to get either our tool card, or we can either get the tool card, the switch card, or the Mirage Gate. And we need all 3 in our hand, including the basic energy and the basic search for Mimikyu V in our hand. If you bench it with VIP Pass, if you bench it with 𝑁𝒆𝒊𝒊, it's not going to work. Mimikyu needs to be from the hand. You need to bench it from the hand to be able to activate Dummy Doll while you're using Star Gravity. So we're not doing that. We should not be doing our Star Gravity too early, because they haven't evolved their VMAXs yet. So it's always safer to wait for your opponent to evolve all of their V-Stars and or VMAXs, and that's when you should be playing your V-Star power. because they actually have no idea what we're playing. So if you have to lose cards, make sure you don't give off that you are, you know, doing Star Gravity, because if your opponent knows that you have an Earthen Sealstone in your deck, they're gonna basically evolve late. They're gonna play a really very tricky way. They're gonna basically try to get around your strategy, try to counter your damage counter placement by forcing you to place as few damage counter as possible on their Pokemon by evolving late. So we should not have done that. We should have lost the Escape Rope, because I feel like we can't afford to lose the Rod. It's kind of crucial because we kind of need more than one Sableye to win the game. If we have, like, for example, the Heavy Ball and the other Sableye prize, then we can't actually win anymore. So if we do Lost Mine twice, if they have a Manaphy at some point, we actually need the Sableye. If we do Lost Mine twice, we can kill the VMAXs on the bench. They may not evolve the Crobat though. They may not evolve any of the VMAX for that matter, because they don't actually need the Pikachu. Unless if we have Cramorant, because we are placing damage counters, right? If they have Big Parasol on the Pikachu, then it would kind of prevent all damage and effects. So I feel like they would still be evolving the Pikachu. They actually evolved the Crobat already, so it doesn't make sense for them not to evolve the Flying Pikachu VMAX as well. And here comes Starbirth. And there we go. So we're gonna hit all three of the V evolutions on the next turn. They got Arceus, Pikachu, and Crobat VMAX, which is perfect. And they did not play a Marnie, which is really swell. Because now we got Mimikyu, Earthen, Sealstone, Energy, and Irida, and an Escape Rope. So apparently we needed the Escape Rope. My bad. We needed the Escape Rope, so that's the reason we had to lose the Rod, because we don't actually have enough pieces in our hand. We need 5 pieces, which is kind of a lot. We need the Mimikyu, the basic energy, a switch card, either Scoop Up Net, Escape Rope, or an Air Balloon, because we can't attach energy from our hand to the Comfey. We have to attach onto the Mimikyu while doing our Mirage Gate, which is, you know, the 4th card that we need. And the 5th one is the tool card, Earthen Sealstone, which we are playing 3 copies of in this deck, and it's not that difficult to get. We have Chorus to basically draw fast with our Comfey as well, so it's not really that big of a challenge to get all 5 pieces by that time in the game. Even if they play a Marnie, you would at least get 1 or 2 pieces in your hand, and then Chorus for the remaining 3. If you play Irida though, you need a lot of pieces in your hand, because it only searches you that 1 extra piece, unless if you bench a Greninja. So we're just gonna lost the energy apparently. So we would have gotten the switch card anyways if we lost the Escape Rope on the last turn. I feel like that would be better, because we're playing a bit on the safe side for this game, but I think it would be wiser to just keep the Rod in our hand, because you never know if you need to shuffle back your Pokemons. Shuffling back Pokemon can be the thing that save your life, can be so important that you can't actually afford to lose. So always choose wisely what to lost. Don't lose the wrong cards. Okay, now we're gonna do Star Gravity, but important to note that they have a big Parasol and they are active, and that means we have to play Escape Rope. We cannot play a Scoop Up Net, we have to play nothing but Escape Rope, because they got a big Parasol. There we go, surprise. Star Gravity with Dummy Doll on the same turn. Which is kind of difficult to pull off. You would think it's easy with Mirage Gate, but it's actually pretty difficult, because you need not just energies inside the deck to play your Mirage Gate, you also need to draw enough cards in your hand, the tool card, the switch card, the Mirage Gate itself, and the Pokemon with 1 energy. If you don't have all 5 pieces, you're not able to do it. 5 exact cards. But we have a lot of ways to summon the basic Pokemon. A lot of energies in the deck. Up to 9 energies. And, well, 3 Quick Ball and 2 Mimikyu Vs. 3 copies of each Mirage Gate / Earthen. So I don't think it's that difficult. And a lot of super cards. Like, we got a billion cards. So right now we are not able to do Sableye. Make sure you're aware of to play Escape Rope again if you want to do Lost Mine. I'm not sure if you even have enough cards in the Lost Zone. So before you have enough cards lost. We can actually play Jellyfish for 3 characters, but that's not enough. So we're just gonna play either Ninja or it's quite difficult to get the Mirage, and because if we then play that later, because that means we don't need big result for this turn. Starting and Escape Rope on the next turn though. Or Scoop Up Net. I'm just gonna do Scoop Up Net now. I feel like it's better. Or to do Malaysia can play a Colress. If we can play a Colress, we can in a better to do Comfey more times. Flowers more times. Got Colress to play Lost Mine. We're gonna take right now just card and then retreat with the to the bench, and if big person it doesn't get anymore. If all of our bench Pokemon, well, all of our Pokemon, it is attached to your active Pokemon. Parasol, and that means we get to play Lost. Energy, discarding. It's always important to note that you can play a Thorton. At some point, I feel like Volo fast enough on the next turn, or Serena, and they're gonna kill it as fast as you can. Right time, right after your Star Gravity, which is kind of a huge, quite a big demand, but it's better than not having. At least we have the chance of doing it, since we are playing, at 1 copy of Thorton and 1 Volo in this deck, so it's not too bad, I don't think. We got 10 damage counters on the Pikachu. We're just gonna place 1 on each of the V evolutions, 1 on the Crobat and 1 on the Arceus. They could still recover their Pokemon, so we have to watch out for that. Make sure you play Energy Recycler at the right time, because you only have 1 copy to spare. We do have the Rod to fall back on, but we just lost it, so don't kill your Mimikyu, or if they kill your first Mimikyu, you can actually bench the second one for free damage counters, right? Because you have Dummy Doll a second time, you get to play that, preventing all damage done to it on your opponent's next turn. And then you get to do Jealous Eyes to place up to 15 damage counters. If they have drawn 5 prize cards, you actually get to place 15 damage counters with your Mimikyu V for only 1 Psychic Energy. So I would actually recommend swapping one Aurora for extra water energy, just because we have Crabominable and also Greninja, which both requires water energy. And if we have too many Aurora, we talked about having 9 energies. We actually have 10 in this deck, my bad. So for each psychic, each basic, 4 psychic, 4 water, and also 2 Aurora. It's better to have 5 basic water, 4 basic psychic, and 1 Aurora. I feel just because Aurora actually discards your hand. Sometimes it's better not to discard your basic Pokemon, even just because you don't want to be playing Thorton at the wrong time, right? If you have to bench the Greninja, you can't actually afford to discard cards in your hand. You could still play Thorton or Sableye, which is still a big plus because you are denying your opponent from drawing a prize. You know, it's still a big deal because your opponent can't actually draw an extra prize by killing a V Pokemon. So they just consider, because we got Serena with Cramorant for the final kill. We get our second VMAX knockout against Crobat, all thanks to Cramorant, which is a big surprise because they just play a Marnie on their last turn and we got lucky. We only have 1 card and no boss in his deck, so the reason being we are using damage counter on their Pokemon in any way, using any 2 of our opponent's Pokemon with Moonlight Shuriken, using Greninja as well. So that's probably the reason why we only have 1 Serena, which is mainly used for Crabominable. Crabominable actually gets to do a 1-hit knockout against any V Pokemon after doing Star Gravity. They do story, but if you can still do Lost Mine to press them to play a second Cheryl, discarding all of these Pokemon, or even play your Cramorant 110 damage, and then Serena for a knockout for the Destroy Punch. So prepare for the Destroy. There are a lot more ways to prepare for the attack. And right now we're up for this list, and let's see right now. They have Max Miracle, which is very, very important to know. They can actually cut through Mimikyu's ability. They would actually play Max Miracle with Power Tablet to knock out our Mimikyu V in this bottom without having to play Path to the Peak. So there are a lot of counters for Mimikyu. You can play Gmax 1 Blow. You can actually play Gmax Pulverization or Path to the Peak, which is the obvious counter. And that means you still get to draw prizes even if even if Mimikyu has the ability that blocks damage. It doesn't actually work, because you get to ignore all effects, including abilities on your opponent's Pokemon when you use Max Miracle. They have double turbo though, so that means they need not just the Power Tablet but also the Choice Belt, or at least 2 copies of the tablet. So we're gonna do Escape Rope for our first Flower Select. We have no Colress in our hand, which is kind of an ordeal playing a lost deck. If you don't lost cards fast enough, you're done for. So we're just gonna get one of the pieces out. I feel like we should get the Escape Rope, but Mirage Gate is kind of necessary though. I don't think we can discard the Mirage Gate. Sorry, lost the Mirage Gate. We're not discarding, we're losting. So not playing a second Escape Rope. This is our first card that we're only able to lose 1 card right now, which is not a good thing. And for this game, we don't have an Eiscue. We have instead our Mimikyu from Vivid Voltage to jam them from healing their bench Pokemon. So both players are not allowed to heal bench Pokemon. If they play cards that do the healing effect, bench Pokemon are not going to be taking those healing effects. So they have Oricorio, and that means Greninja is doing 70 damage to Mew VMAX, or any other Pokemon for that matter. So we can actually play Greninja on one of the Mew VMAX and the 𝑑𝑗𝒆𝒃, and then play Sableye on the next turn to knock out for 6 prizes, right? We don't actually need to kill 2 Mew VMAXs to win the game, because we have 6 damage counters. We actually need 6 though, so I don't think that's enough, right? Because we need 2 more damage counters to knock them out, plus 4, all thanks to Oricorio. So that means we need 6 extra damage counters to knock out both the VMAX and the 𝑑𝑗𝒆𝒃 on the bench, and that means 6 damage counter remaining. The 6 damage counter remaining would not be enough to kill the Oricorio / Meloetta. We still need 3 more damage counters. So Oricorio is actually helping a lot. We actually have to get VMAXs with not just our Greninja, but also Sableye. 219 damage counters. So if we're not doing Moonlight Shuriken at all, we still need 3 shots of Lost Mine to win the game against V-Star decks, right? Or if they play only 1 Mew VMAX, if they only have 1 VMAX in play, way more Lost Mines, way more Sableyes. Okay, they have Melodious Echo. So we got Cramorant in the active. I think they did a boss. Well, they played Serena though. Sorry, they played Elisa. They played Elisa, so I'm not sure how Cramorant got into the active. Maybe an escape rope? I have no idea actually. Okay, they got their first prize, which is not good. I think they played a Marnie as well. So we got Avery, which is not a good card to play after doing your Star Gravity, because you want to be keeping your opponent's bench Pokemon, keeping those damage counters in play. If you play Avery after doing your Star Gravity, they are most likely to be discarding, the damaged Pokemons, and that means you would basically be playing your V-Star power for nothing. Right? Star Gravity would have done nothing. So make sure you don't play Avery at the wrong time. It's only helping you against 1 prize decks. It's only helping you early game before you pull off the V-Star power. You have to be very aware when to play the right cards. No room for mistake now that meta is so tight. So we have our second flower select. We're going to do it right now. I think it's the third one. My bad. We got another Mirage Gate. Oh, it's actually our first one because we just got Marnie. I don't think they played a Marnie though. I think that was the previous game, right? We got Mirage Gate from the previous game. So we didn't get Marnie for this game. And I don't think Mew VMAX, play that many Marnies. We're gonna get the Serena, we're gonna play our Energy. I think we have enough. We have the Mimikyu, the Energy, the Mirage Gate. We have no retreat though. So we finally get to play the Mirage Gate, but we have no retreat. They gave us a training card. So let's hope Greninja draws us the Escape Rope. The Escape Rope or Scoop Up Net for us to switch. We retreated with the Air Balloon, so we can't retreat on the same turn. Let's just draw with Greninja first. I'm not sure what to discard though. Should we discard the Special Energy? Should we discard the Water? Oh, we're gonna play the Mirage Gate first, because that means we would have a higher chance of drawing out the switch card from the top 2 cards of deck. It's a bit risky, but it's you either go big or you go home, right? If you want to bench it first, you have to play Mirage Gate first. So we're just gonna attach the basic energy, because that way we get to, even if we do a Volo, we get to actually, you know, recycle those basic energies back. So we're gonna do Escape Rope right now. We actually got it. And Star Gravity for the first, for our first hit. First attack. Volo. We're gonna do Volo with Moonlight Shuriken if we're lucky. Because we only have one select though. Unless if we get a Scoop Up Net. Okay. So never forget that you can still use Jealous Eyes on the next turn if you don't do a Volo, or if your Mimikyu alive for too long. Jealous Eyes can actually help you win the game. 3 damage counter for each prize card your opponent has taken is kind of a lot. Because if they have taken 4 prizes, you got 12 damage counters on their active, and that's enough to kill a V-Star after doing your Star Gravity. With your second Mimikyu possibly, because the first one is probably going to get knocked out right after dummy. Okay, they're going to do Cross Fusion Strike. They could have done Max Miracle, because they just played 1 Power Tablet, I think. The tablet. So they just put back the Cramomatic. 2 copies of Cramomatic back at the top of their deck, which is a little bit weird. You should be putting back cards like Power Tablet or something. I guess you don't really need it though, because we have low HP Pokemons inside. So they actually did Melodious Echo for 0 damage when they could have done Max Miracle. It doesn't really matter though, because we just need 2 more turns to win. We just need our Moonlight Shuriken right now with 1 Sableye, and that's it. Or even 2 Sableye, you know, straight in a row. If we do Lost Mine 1 at a time though, they're probably gonna do Psychic Leap. So it's always better to do 6 prize draw against Mew VMAX if you're playing a Lost Box. If you can, it's better always to do that. Especially if they evolve for you 2 VMAXs in a row. They're basically doing the work for us. So we actually played Serena to discard. We can't play Avery, so we have to play Serena to discard our hand. And we actually got it though. We got pretty lucky for this game. We got our Mirage Gate and 2 basic energy exactly inside the deck. Not in our hand, because it has to be inside the deck for us to play, for us to attach with that item. So we could actually have done Sableye twice, which would essentially be the same thing, but my bad, I just explained it though, because if we kill 1 Mew VMAX at a time, they can do Psychic Leap with a bench Mew, right? If they bench a 3rd Mew, they can remove all damage counters by doing a Psychic Leap. And we don't want them to recover those damage counters that easily. It's not that easy though to pull off a 6 prize draw every single game. Sometimes you have to rely on Crabominable. So if they do Psychic Leap, we still have Serena with Crabominable to basically knock out a Genesect. And then possibly do an Escape Rope or Lost Mine. If we do Lost Mine, we don't need Escape Rope, right? If we do Escape Rope without Serena using Crabominable, we can actually still collect either a Genesect knockout or, you know, a Meloetta knockout. We just need to kill another Pokemon, right? We just need 3 knockouts. If we can kill 1 Pokemon with Sableye, and then another one with Crabominable, that would mean we just need 1 more with Sableye. And we got Rod Thorton to basically revive our Sableye a second time to do Lost Mine twice to win the game. Be aware of Crabominable though. If you can play it for the last minute knockout, it's always better to do so, because it's a V card. If your opponent knocks out your Crabominable, they are drawing 2 prizes for it. So make sure to pull off Crabominable with Mirage Gate at the last minute, at the very last minute if you can, right? It's not always possible, but if you can, make sure to do that. Okay, we're gonna rod back as many cards as we can into the deck. I feel like that would be safer because we would have more turns to pull off our Moonlight Shuriken Lost Mind combo. Oh, we just need Lost Mind though, right? We just need 1 Psychic Energy right now. We did Moonlight Shuriken on the last turn, and now we just need to play Sableye for the win. So 6 damage counter is all we need because they got 2 VMAXs in play. Both have 30 HP remaining. And Oricorio is not guarding against damage counters. It's not reducing damage counters. It's only reducing damage. And so Sableye gets to cut through Oricorio's ability. We're placing 6 damage counters on each anyways. More than enough to kill both the VMAXs, which we did on the same turn for a 6 prize win. Look at that. That is crazy, yo. 6 prize against Mew VMAX. That's a big win. Okay, now we're up against a 1 prize deck. I think they're doing a Ditto control deck. Sender Wojcik's Ditto control deck with Snorlax. They have Sandile as well. Sandile with the mill attack. So discard 3 cards from the top card of your opponent's deck for 4 colorless energy cost, which is quite a lot. But if you can basically do a Galar Mind boss trap, or even play Jinx on your last turn to do Confusion to trap your opponent in the active, you could possibly do a lot to disrupt their deck by discarding the top 3. You know, discarding only 3 cards could actually still mean a lot if you are playing a control deck. Because that would mean Galar Mine would work more efficiently. If you're lucky enough to discard switch cards, Galar Mine would actually trap them a lot more efficiently. So they got Pidgeot and Yellhorn. And here comes Gourmandize. They're going to Gourmandize for 7 cards into their hand. Now we're going to play Comfey with our VIP Pass. So be very careful what to bench, because VIP Pass gets you any basic Pokemon. You want to be benching your Cramorant with VIP Pass for early knockouts. If you can do 1 or 2 prize draw with your Cramorant early in the game, that's still a big plus though. That would mean if you kill if you draw 1 prize already before doing your Star Gravity, you just need 1 VMAX and 1 V-Star knockout to win the game. If you kill 2 1 prize Pokemon before playing Mimikyu, you just need 2 seconds to win the game, because that would mean you just need 2 more V knockouts. It doesn't matter if it's V-Star or VMAX, you just need 2 more V knockouts. So drawing prize early is still, is definitely a good deal, no matter what happens. So we should definitely be aiming for that. Interesting, but going for Ninja gives us a bench snipe. If they're we should be able to draw 3 prizes by killing not just the dealers on the bench, but also the Snorlax, something else in the active. 180 damage is not quite enough to kill the Pidgeot though, so I feel like we should be doing our Spit Innocently first. So it has 210 HP, so we actually need to play Cramorant twice on the Pidgeot to kill it for 2 prize. I don't think it's that difficult though. If we get our Escape Rope, we should be fine. If they don't bench the Ditto right now, we just need Escape Rope to target the Pidgeot. And that would give us, you know, 2 turbo prizes early game, which is really, really, really good. Here comes Peonia. So they are not drawing any prizes with the control deck, and that's why they have to play Peonia or Heavy Ball. Peonia gets you your double turbo though. If you have too many double turbo or twin energy stuck in the prize for a Duran deck, for example, Peonia is going to help you a lot in those sticky situations. So I feel like control decks can't actually go without Peonia. Peonia is really, really helpful against, you know, if you're building control decks. So they have a Galar Mine right now, but I feel like if we can get the Air Balloon, we can retreat over and over. It doesn't really help much though, because they're probably going to do a boss on something else. So if they boss other Pokemon without Air Balloon attached, we still actually need our Scoop Up Net, Escape Rope. We need those other switch cards to help us attack and collect prizes every single turn. If we can't attack, we pass too many turns, they're going to play Sandile to discard our deck. They're going to mill us to death. So that's basically their main strategy. They got Silene as well to basically loop their deck with Pidgeot. So Pidgeot is helping them, you know, stay alive. You know, is basically giving them infinite turns, right? Because you get to shuffle that Pokemon and all cards attached back into your deck. And that means you have an unlimited amount of turns by, you know, by drawing. If you draw Pidgeot from the top deck, you can bench it and then shuffle it back. And then draw on the next turn, bench it, shuffle it back again, and over and over and over. That means you're never gonna deck out. So Pidgeot for a control deck is perfect. That's why they have it for a Ditto control box. And we're gonna do a Scoop Up Net right now. So make sure you play your switch cards wisely, because if you use them for Cramorant, make sure you get enough damage in the game. It's not quite wise for us to play it right now though, because we know we're not knocking it out, and they could quite easily do a switch this turn and shuffle back the Pidgeot, removing all damage counters from it, and that means we got no prize doing a Cramorant. We're basically doing 0 damage. So they did a boss, which isn't going to do much, because we have our Escape Rope, but we need to be playing another Scoop Up Net though. We actually got it from the top deck, which is pretty lucky. So I feel like the Air Balloon really doesn't have much value, because even against Galar Mine, you still need to attach an energy from your hand. If you attach the energy onto your Comfey for the retreat cost, or even your Manaphy or Greninja, since most of our Pokemon only have 1 energy retreat except for Mimikyu. Mimikyu has 2 energy retreat, but by that time you would have 3 energies on your Mimikyu to do the retreat cost anyways, so it doesn't really matter. Because, you know, you should only be benching your Mimikyu if you know, once you're able to pull off Star Gravity. So retreating with that 1 energy, you know, with an Air Balloon if they play a Galar Mine is not really a good deal, because even if you can retreat over and over, even if you can use the tool card more than once every single turn, you're still required to attach the energy, 1 energy over and over to the same Comfey. And attaching for the retreat cost means you can't actually use Mirage Gate to satisfy Moonlight Shuriken's attack costs. You can't actually do Moonlight Shuriken on the same turn after retreating with the Air Balloon. So I feel like Air Balloon doesn't have much value for this deck. If they don't play Galar Mine though, you can retreat over and over with the same Comfey without having to search for another switch card, right? If you play Air Balloon, you don't actually need 5 pieces, you just need 4 pieces to play your Star Gravity. Because if you have Air Balloon reattached onto one of your bench Comfey, you can actually play, after they knock out one of your Pokemon, if they don't do a boss on the Comfey with the Air Balloon attached, they're probably going to target something else like a Greninja or Sableye on your bench if you bench it. Obviously, don't bench the Sableye. Sometimes you shouldn't be benching the Greninja as well. So if you have like Cramorant in play, they could be targeting that Pokemon since it can do damage for you to prepare, for you to set up for Lost Mine or even Crabominable. So they may be targeting your Cramorant, and that means you can actually play your Air Balloon on the next turn to retreat. Instead of having 5 pieces, you just need 4. You just need your Mimikyu with the tool card, Mirage Gate, and 1 energy in your hand, and you're good to go for your first Star Gravity. And here comes Ditto with a twin energy attached. We just need to play our Mirage Gate for Greninja to do Moonlight Shuriken. But for that to happen, we need water energy though. We need to play water from our hand, and we need to switch at the same time. So we have Eiscue, which really isn't doing much though, because they are playing Sandile. Sandile and Yveltal. Yveltal is discarding special energies from our Pokemon. Sandile is discarding 3 cards from our deck. So Eiscue really isn't doing much. I don't think Eiscue is helping us for this matchup against control decks. It really isn't countering anything. If we play against Lunatone, Solrock, and Regigigas, it would be perfect, but for this matchup, it's not. It's really just sitting there doing nothing. Okay, we're just gonna play a Colress right now. I feel like it's a bit risky though. I'm not sure if we want to play the Mirage Gate to get the energy first. Attaching the energy first may mean, you know, it could mean we won't be able to draw the water energy out that easily anymore because we have that many basic water discarded already. And we even lost it a few as well. So it's kind of risky to do that. To play the Mirage Gate first. I feel like we should actually play the Colress first because that way we could actually draw out the energy a lot easier because we have 2 basic water in the discard pile. So let's just do the Colress. We could draw out a Recycler. There we go, we got the Recycler. So even, there we go, we got the water and the Recycler, which is exactly what we need. We don't need the Mirage Gate, but we got it anyways. So we got the water. Make sure to play Recycler first before doing Mirage Gate, because by that time, after drawing that many cards, you would have discarded a lot of energies. Or if you have way too many energies in your hand, like if you have so many basic energy in your hand, you should be discarding them with your Quick Ball and Aurora to play your Rod to shuffle it back. If you are forced to play your Energy Recycler to shuffle back only 2 energies, make sure you do that though, because sometimes you may not have enough basic energy inside the deck. Search your deck to see though. You can always check your deck with an item card. Check it with your Quick Ball, check it with your Level Ball to see if you have enough basic energy inside the deck to attach with your Mirage Gate before doing your Recycler, because we are only able to recycle that many times in a game. Since we only have 1 copy of each Rod and Recycler, we don't want to be wasting them. So use every single card that you have conservatively because we only have 1 copy of those crucial cards. Never waste your resources. So now Snorlax have like 40 HP remaining. We just need 1 more strike to kill off the Snorlax. Another Moonlight Shuriken would actually help us draw 2 prizes on the next turn. I'm not sure if we can pull it off though. So we got Avery and Bruno. We got water energy already attached though. We already have a water energy on Greninja because we only are required to discard 2 energy, and we discarded the Psychic and water. So you can even play Thorton onto your Greninja. Important to note that you can swap any Pokemon, any basic Pokemon into play with another basic. So we have no evolution, I don't think. We're not playing any evolution cards in this deck. No Mimikyu V Max. No Greninja V Star. There's no such thing. It's not even a V card anyways. Okay, we won the game. Like, they don't have Manaphy, they don't have a 3rd bench, they're done. They discarded the Sandile when they should have benched it. So here comes Mirage Gate, and here comes the double draw. We got 2 prizes, and we just need Sableye to win the game for us. We just lost enough cards, I'm pretty sure. If we don't, we have Escape Rope to lose more with Comfey and get another Colress out. So Lost Mine is going to help us collect the final prize to win the game, even if they have another another Pokemon on the bench. If they do Manaphy though, we need to play, we need a lot more turns to do Lost Mine. A couple more turns to win the game, which is still fine actually. So right now we're up against a water deck. They could be playing a Palkia V-Star, I don't know. I'm not sure actually what they're playing. Alright. Got a Tails. Can't really do anything about the delay. Okay, so they're doing Ice Rider VMAX with Inteleon. So against a VMAX, we got Star Gravity, but if they don't evolve the second VMAX early though, which normally is the case, they would normally be attacking with Ice Rider super fast with the first VMAX and then benching another Ice Rider on on the same turn. And that means you either have to wait another turn for them to evolve the second Ice Rider, which they may not do, depending on whether they know what you're up to or whether they choose to evolve fast. They may just keep it as the basic until the last minute. So you may actually fare better just playing early, even if you are only placing up to 10 damage counters on their bench Ice Rider. You can place up to 21 damage counters, 22 damage counters on the active, but not more than 10, not more than 11 on the bench. So waiting too long could be really bad because Ice Rider can price really fast. They don't have a V card though. They don't have a V on your bench, so we actually got a pretty nice head start. Right now we got our first prize on the first turn, which is really good. So we had our Greninja. I feel like we should get Greninja right now. I don't know what they're playing yet. Like right now we actually have no idea what they have in the deck and what they're trying to, what their strategy is, what cards they have in their deck. They could be playing a bench snipe strategy, so I feel like we should be discarding something else. With the Quick Ball, I don't think we should be discarding the Energy or the Manaphy. Discarding Energy would be really bad since we need to use Greninja's ability. So if you are using Greninja's ability to discard Energy, I don't think you can afford to discard more than that because we only have 10 copies there and only two ways of shuffling back the Energy. I really want to be wasting them. Okay, they're probably gonna put the Sobble into the active because they got Scoop Up Net, they got shady dealings with the Drizzile, and scooping up the Bibarel would be a bad idea. So I don't think they have a choice but to put a Sobble. We're gonna Flower Select, and we got the Colress. Look at that. Getting the Colress means we got a free prize this turn. All thanks to Cramorant. And we got Mimikyu, Mirage Gate, and the Switch card. But I don't think we need it though, because they haven't even benched their Ice Rider. They haven't even benched the V card, let alone evolve it. So I feel like we should be getting our Colress instead, because they could still do a Marnie. I feel like we should be getting our supporter, because we have a lot more Switch cards in the deck. I don't think we need to worry about that early in the game. So we got 4 pieces. We just need one final piece, which is the Switch card, for us to play our Star Gravity on the same turn as benching our Mimikyu. So benching it means you got your dummy doll activated, preventing all damage done to your Mimikyu V on the next turn, while also pulling off Volo/Thorton on the next, giving you a free turn to deny your opponent from drawing an extra prize. Because if you do Star Gravity with your Mimikyu V, you could actually have your opponent do a boss later on in the game and draw an extra prize by doing a V knockout. Because Mimikyu has only 160 HP, it's quite easy to kill Mimikyu with one hit. If it stays alive, if it stays in play more than one turn, Dummy Doll has no more effect and they can actually kill it for an extra prize. I'm probably over explaining myself, but for those new to Mimikyu, for those actually not too familiar with that card, that's how the ability works. And you should be aware of every single tiny aspects, tiny details of the game if you want to win big, right? If you want to be a master at any game, you need to analyze the details. So we got 2 Mirage Gate in our hand. We got Cramorant still alive in the active because apparently they don't have the Ice Rider on the last turn, and that means Melanie is not actually helping them, not even doing a knockout this turn. So it's actually really bad. So they got 0 prizes twice in a row, 2 turns straight. And Cramorant is actually able to damage them right now. We're going to do some damage with Cramorant, spit innocently, and then collect the prize on the VMAX with our Crabominable. I feel like that's the best way to go, because Crabominable is going to help us do a one-hit knockout, even if they heal the Ice Rider, as long as they don't do a Cheryl. If they play Cheryl though, they got no energies in the game. They can't play Melanie and Cheryl at the same time. No energy on the Ice Rider means we got a free turn to do another, to attack again with the same Cramorant. So we can even do Destroyer Punch twice, right? If we do Destroyer Punch once, we got 90 damage in the game, and then on the next turn play a Thorton or something to play it a second time. If we do it, if they heal though, it will be pretty bad, obviously. Well, they have to heal right now though. If they heal right now, they can attack and we can play Cramorant a second time, right? We don't need to play Destroy Punch twice. We can play Spit in, we can use Cramorant's attack first before doing Destroy Punch. Okay, we're just gonna Flower Select and always lost as many cards as you can. You know, keep playing Comfey's ability, because you need to remember that Sableye has to attack. Sableye needs to attack at some point in the game, and for it to do Lost Mine, you need to have collected up to 10 cards in the Lost Zone. If you don't collect your cards in the Lost Zone, Sableye won't be able to attack that fast. If you attack with Sableye too late in the game, if you play Lost Mine way too late, you may not be able to win anymore. So make sure you keep losting as many cards as you can every single turn. Play as many Colress as you can. Play as many Flower Select as many times as possible, because that's your key to winning the game. So we got our Water Energy and the Mirage Gate. Now we get to do Destroyer Punch for a VMAX knockout. And we got 3 prizes. They got no bench Ice Rider. They got no Pokemon on the bench. No attackers on the next turn, and that means we won. They just conceded. We won the game. So we could have attached an Aurora onto our Crabominable, but I feel like the best strategy for this deck though is to have an extra Water Energy inside the deck to replace for the Psychic. So if we have, for example, like 5 basic Water and 4 basic Psychic with 1 Aurora, even that would be better, because it means we have more Water Energy inside the deck, and if we have more basic Water, it would show up a lot easier into our hand. We would draw it a lot more. We would have a higher chance of drawing the Water Energy earlier than the Psychic. I don't think we need the Psychic until a lot later in the game, because we have Sableye. The only card that needs the Psychic is Sableye's Lost Mine and Mimikyu's Jealous Eyes, and I don't think we need to be playing Jealous Eyes until our opponent has drawn a lot of their prize cards. If they draw 3 prize cards, we can do 90. We can place 9 damage counters with our Jealous Eyes on their active, which is still not enough after the Sour Gravity to knock out their V Pokemons in the active spot. So I feel like we need to wait a couple turns before we can play our Mimikyu's attack, or even Sableye's attack if we want to. So it's always wiser to fit in more Water Energy if you don't need to play Psychic that early. You can even choose to play like 5 basic Psychic, 5 basic Water, my bad, and 3 basic Psychic with 2 Aurora. Because I don't think we need that many copies of the Psychic anyways. If you lost them though, it would be pretty bad. So make sure you're aware, if you play that many Water Energies, it's not okay to lose your Psychic. It's okay to lose a couple of your Water Energies, maybe 1 or 2 copies. I would suggest losing only 1 though. If you play only 3 copies of your basic Psychic, you can't lose more than 1. You have to check your deck. Obviously, if you have only 1 copy of your basic energy in the deck, do not lose even a single copy. If you have too many basic energy priced, you can't afford to lose your energies. So it's always important to check your deck to see what you have in there. You cannot afford to lose the wrong cards. We have no Peonia in this deck. We can't actually swap cards with the prize. We are not able to draw cards out from the prize until we do a knockout. And we are not able to do a knockout until late game after playing Star Gravity. We want to be doing Star Gravity first, which is not giving us prizes, which is not doing knockouts. And that means we are not able, to get cards from the prize. So it's a lot more difficult to play this deck because we have to basically, you know, we have to prepare for the long run. We have to aim to do a knockout late game. You know, we're not basically drawing any prizes that early, so we have to be very careful losting when we're losting cards with Colress or even our Comfey. Okay, now we're up against a one prize deck playing Braixen with Meowstic. They got a lot of bosses in their deck, so it's pretty surprising. So they got Meowstic to search for Serena and Boss. Boss targets your one prize cards at the on the bench. It helps you target one prize Pokemons. Serena helps you do more damage with Braixen if you have them in your discard pile. Serena helps you target your opponent's bench V Pokemons as well, but it doesn't help you drag the Manaphy into the active spot. It doesn't help you target Dunsparce, for example. So they're not playing fighting Pokemon anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Dunsparce doesn't really work. If they're playing a Zoroark box, then maybe a Zoroark box with like Raichu and Raichu against Dunsparce, Raichu against Lugia V-Star. Okay, we got our Colress early game, which is always a big plus. We're just gonna draw. I don't think we need Earthen Sealstone for this game because they're playing a one price deck, so we're just gonna lose the Earthen. We have Irida and no other supporter cards, so it feels safer for us to get the Bruno, but I feel like we should be keeping the Thorton though. So I don't know what's lost right now. I think we should be losing the Water Energy and keeping the Thorton in our hand. Thorton could really save us, because that means we can play Sableye a lot more times. And if we're placing 12 damage counter, we would be able to collect an extra prize by our third strike. We got 36 damage counter if we hit it three times. If they don't play Scoop Up Net, we got an extra knockout on the third turn. So 9 times 4 is equals to 36, right? So if they have like 90 HP Pokemon, 4 copies of it on the bench, we can kill the fourth one after the third strike. But they're probably going to play Scoop Up Net though, because they have Meowstic, and Meowstic's ability only works if you evolve it from your hand. You are playing Scoop Up Net. They are playing Scoop Up Net to recycle the abilities that they get to search their deck for supporter cards more times with the same Meowstic. So they're not doing a lot of damage with Braixen, but they don't need that much. We are playing a one price deck as well. Mimikyu is only 160 damage, 160 HP, so they just need like 3 Serenas in the discard pile to knock out our Mimikyu after 𝑷𝑻𝑑𝑚𝑪𝑮𝑶 loses his effect. So we have to play Volo. We can't play our Thorton anymore, but I don't think we should be doing Mimikyu at all because they have no V Pokemons in play. Star Gravity is doing nothing. I feel like Greninja has way more value than Mimikyu. So Sableye Greninja is the way to go. If they bench a Manaphy right now, we need to play Lost Mine on the next turn to collect a Manaphy knockout so that we get to remove that ability from play and strike the bench on the next turn. If we kill the Manaphy with our Sableye, we can do Moonlight Shuriken for a 2-price knockout on the next turn. So Sableye is not able to collect extra prizes that easily since they have Scoop Up Net. We have to rely on Greninja. They're probably going to have it though. Level Ball for a Manaphy. There we go. Quick Ball. It's so easy to get a Manaphy. If we miss that one turn not doing Moonlight Shuriken, we're done for. We could have done it on the last turn though, but we didn't manage to get an extra water energy into our hand. We got the Mirage Gate, but no water energy. I don't think we played the Mirage Gate though. Did we play the Mirage Gate? I don't think we could actually play it, because we don't have enough cards in the Lost Zone. There we go. We don't even have enough cards in the Lost Zone, and that's the reason we couldn't do our Moonlight Shuriken. So it would actually be better for you to play cards like Bayonet or Lost Vacuum, which helps you lost cards a lot earlier. You can already do your what's it called again? Mirage Gate on your second turn. If you do more lost vacuums in your deck. You can lose way more cards like your training card as well. But losting cards is actually really difficult though. If you play Lost Vacuum, if you add too many copies of that card, you're gonna have to replace some other cards, and I don't think we can afford that. We need a lot of balls in the deck for us to bench enough Comfeys. I feel like that's the better strategy. Focusing on Comfey helps you draw cards as well at the same time as losting. If you're losting a card from your hand with your Lost Vacuum, if you get it in your hand, you're not drawing any cards. So Lost Vacuum is not better than Comfey, right? I feel like playing more Comfeys and more switch cards is a lot better. Okay, they got Manaphy right now. We have no choice but to play Sableye. But I don't think we have enough cards in the Lost Zone. We can either play Mimikyu or Moonlight Shuriken for 1 prize. If we do Moonlight Shuriken for 1 prize, they're gonna knock it out on the next turn, and we're gonna have to, wait for the Rod to basically play our Moonlight Shuriken a second time at some point in the game. I don't really want to do that. If they do a boss on the next turn though, Greninja is no longer in play, and that would be really, really bad. So playing Jealous Eyes for 3 damage counter really isn't doing much. I don't know why I did that. I feel like it's just the time constraints that made us do the wrong decision. So playing Mimikyu is probably stupid because I feel like it's buying us 1 turn though, at least, because we got Volo in our hand. If they don't do an Escape Rope boss, they can't target the Mimikyu, and if we discard it on the next turn, we can deny them from drawing a prize this turn, because if they don't get a boss, they can't do anything. If they got Serena, they're not going to be able to target anyone on our bench. We weren't really expecting a boss though. They got Meowstic, so all they need really is 1 boss inside the deck, and Meowstic is going to help them target any one of our bench. Probably the Greninja, because it has that many energies attached, is like the biggest red flag, right? Because they have Manaphy though, so I don't think they would be that afraid of Greninja yet. Let's hope they don't target the Greninja. Let's hope they just, let's hope they underestimate our Greninja, because we can still play Sableye to place damage counters on the Manaphy, preparing for Greninja to do a double knockout on the next turn. 12 damage counter plus 3 from the Jealous Eyes is not enough. I don't know what I was thinking. So 12 plus 3 is equal... Sorry, my bad. 7 plus... 12 plus 3 is not enough to kill the Manaphy and the 𝑑𝑻𝑪𝑮𝑶. Right? Because 7 plus 6 is 13. We need 13 damage counter to kill both the 𝑑𝑻𝑪𝑮𝑶 in the active and also the Manaphy. So they just did a boss on the Sableye instead of the Greninja. Because that's the way, I think that's the only way we can deal with the Manaphy. So they want to be delaying our game as much as they can. And killing the Sableye means we actually need to play the Rod or get another Sableye to be able to deal with the Manaphy first. If we don't deal with the Manaphy first, we can't play Greninja. I wasn't expecting a boss though, because they have 4 Serenas in their deck. I really wasn't expecting a boss. So now we're forced to play a Volo. If we don't play a Volo, we can't deny them from the Mimikyu knockout. But we kind of have no choice but to play the Colress though. If we don't lose cards every single turn, we can't play Sableye. If we don't play Sableye right now, we can't deal with the Manaphy. So I think the best thing to do right now is to just go for the Sableye, right? Because that would mean we got 3 prizes in 2 turns, and they would get the Mimikyu knockout on the next turn with the boss though, or a Serena, but we really can't do anything about that. They need 2 more turns after that, so we just need like another Mirage Gate to play the Greninja another time, and possibly another Sableye to deal with the 𝑑𝑻𝑪𝑮𝑶. So we got 4 prizes in 2 turns. I feel like we got it though. My bad. We got 5 prizes in 3 turns. It's really complicated. So we're just gonna do our Lost Mine right now to collect 1 prize on the Manaphy. And then Moonlight Shuriken is gonna help us collect 2 prizes after that. And then we just need 1 more Lost Mine to win the game. So 3 turns is all we need, including this one. And they actually need 3 turns as well, even if they kill the Mimikyu. And since we are going first, we actually win the game. As long as they don't scoop up the active 𝑑𝑗𝑚𝑪𝑮𝒏. If they scoop up the active 𝑑𝑗𝑚𝑪𝒏, we can't actually do a 2 prize kill with the Lost Mine, with the second Lost Mine. So benching the Mimikyu is actually a really bad decision. We only have 1 Rod though, so that's the reason why I say we should not have lost the Thorton. If we had the Thorton, we could have done the Mirage Gate for Moonlight Shuriken a second time. Okay, we got another gate. Eiscue is not doing much because they are playing an evolution deck. So they need another boss, but they got no more search. No more Meowstic for the search. I think they played 2 bosses already. I feel like, I don't know, they could have 4 bosses in their deck, you never know. Fucking crazy psycho, or even a Palpat. Okay, no boss means no Mimikyu, but they have 1 last Serena though. That's pretty scary, isn't it? They got 4 Serenas in the deck, 3 in the discard pile. 1 could be in their hand. You never know what's gonna happen. If they do a Serena right now, we're done for. They even have a Path to the Peak, which doesn't really work anymore, right? They miss their turn. Dummy Doll already loses its effect. We don't have Dummy Doll anymore, so they don't really need the Path to the Peak anyways. But it's basically blocking our Greninja from using his ability. We can't draw cards with Greninja anymore. They missed the window, so they got the Path to the Peak a bit too late. So they can still evolve the Delphox. You never know if they have that stage 2 card in their deck, and if they do, we actually need a couple more strikes of Lost Mine to win the game, which would be pretty bad because we need a lot more damage counters to deal with the Delphox since it has way more HP than the 𝑑𝑗𝑚𝑪𝒏. So they just conceded because apparently they just missed 1 turn though. They couldn't deal with the decision. They couldn't deal with the dilemma and had to pause a turn not doing anything. It happens sometimes, like you get stuck with a dead hand and you have no idea what to play because there's just way too many. The decision is way too difficult. This game is so luck dependent. It really relies on what cards you get. And you sometimes just have no control over that. There's only so much you can control though. Okay, so right now we're up against a Phalanx deck. They actually have a full Phalanx with V-Guard as well, which is pretty interesting. And they got 1 Drapion to counter Mew VMAX, which is super cool. I would recommend adding a Thorton to swap out the Drapion with another Phalanx so that you get to do more damage with your 1 prize Phalanx from Rebel Clash, hitting up to a maximum 150 damage or even more with your choice belt. 150 is quite a lot since you're tanking so much damage with your Phalanx, which every single copy of it. They have Worker as well to basically draw 3 cards and discard Path to the Peak while also tanking. That actually allows them to choose when to play their Stadium card. If they don't have a Stadium card in their hand, they can actually remove Path to the Peak as well. If they have the supporter instead, they can play it to do the discard effect instead of searching for their Stadium. So I think I'm just gonna end the voice right here and leave you guys to focus on the game. Hope you guys enjoyed this new combo. Today we're featuring our Earthen Seal Stone with Mirage Gate, using Mimikyu's dummy doll to basically pull off a surprise Star Gravity at just the right time, and then activating our dummy doll to prevent all damage done to our Mimikyu for that one turn, and then using Volo or Thorton to deny our opponent from drawing 2 prizes by doing a Mimikyu V knockout. Deny them the V knockout with our Volo is a big plus, because that means we are forcing them to draw 1 prize at a time with our Manaphy as well, guarding our bench, and drawing 1 prize at a time gives us a lot of time to collect the knockout after playing Star Gravity. So this is essentially a 1 prize deck with Earthen Seal Stone, forcing our opponent to draw 1 prize at a time while we are doing so much damage, placing so many damage counter with the special V star power and also our Lost Mine. So that's all for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you next time. Have a great day and bye for now, people. Enjoy your life.